dude, what am I even doing here, bro? Let's go back to Vista. I'll get a carne asada burrito and skate the curb with my boys. What the fuck's happening?
When did you? What was the year that you stepped out of skating? Like, let me just go back there real quick. I'm just for reference.
Like, I'm thinking 1991.
Was it that early?
91
I
and
mean,
a half.
I don't know.
92. It was.
I have no idea.
Maybe 92. I don't honestly don't know either. Actually, because I knew we were going to do this, I started to try to ramble my own damn brains, try to figure out like, what the hell have I been doing? But some of that's a bit blurry. So somewhere in that zone, because by 94 or 95, I live back in San Diego. So 3 years in Chicago, 2.5 years in Chicago.
So you had a short window, seemingly. Like you were the guy. Like I remember going to a contest I think it was in San Diego. I think it was actually the one that was a parking lot across the street from where Del Mar used to be.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing you there.
Street contest, 90.
I mean, I'd seen you before, obviously, but I don't know, for some reason that stuck in my head because at the time, you were ascending rapidly beyond everyone, and you were doing over the hip kickflip backside grabs, and I think you were doing them in SF prior, and you were people were just like, what is going on right now? Like, you came in and really kind of just took over for a bit.
I don't know what to tell you.
I know, but I'm just saying this is like what I'm remembering. I'm just remembering like, wow, like, who is this dude? So if you split and say 91-ish, when did you turn pro? Because like back then, when you turned pro, you had to enter a pro contest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was following, like I was right in between both of the rules occurring, where you couldn't just turn fucking pro.
No, here's your board of your pro. It's like, okay, cool.
It was right. There was just like I remember, there were some people that just fucking I'm turning pro and I don't care who. I mean, that was the oddball. It wasn't the normal. So
totally.
And I. Just like everybody else probably in our circle, I grew up my whole life skateboarding, so I did all the castle contests and did all the usual suspects of being involved. But I turned pro in 1988, and my first contest was in '89. I actually think my first pro contest I didn't even really enter. I think I just fucking ran away like a Monty Python film. I'm like, this is too many of these people that I'm skateboarding with. I look up to. They're on my wall. You, Natus, all these people all around me, and I'm just like, it was a little bit overwhelming, dude, because it happened for me too quickly, Also, we're like, you're gonna turn fucking pro, and I've been so busy just maybe wanting to of course, be a professional skateboarder, but just thinking it would happen maybe in 2 more years or 3 more years, or just really not even making that fact a reality that it will happen. Just so you spend your whole life just getting involved with it and just skating. And those days the amateur contests were heavy. It was gnarly because that whole generation of people, was bringing a whole new vibe to it, and that wasn't met with all high fives and you're the greatest.
Yeah.
I was not met with smiling people. I was met with people cutting me fucking off, and I was met with a weirdness in my soul. But I'll tell you, the first time I do remember actually skateboarding, that was happening, like just whatever. I'm a 45-year-old man who still looks like a little kid when I get around certain people. You are one of those people I have been included in that list. You hear that all the time, I'm sure. But I'm marching around, skating around, and people cut me off, and I start to feel like dude, what am I even doing here, bro? Let's go back to Vista. I'll get a carne asada burrito and skate the curb with my boys. What the fuck's happening? Holmes recognized that, So Christian comes up to me, and he's all, hey, dude, you're ripping, bro. And he's all, kind of like, it's cool. And, and he just threw me a shaka, and I was just like, and that was right before my run. And I've told him that since then, which is also cool to tell him that. But I just had some, like, when it's like, ladies and gentlemen, and you've never heard of, and skating for I've never heard of, and as I pushed off, I just was like, dude, Holmes just gave me, Holmes just greenlit me. He just said, fucking, it's all good, bro, you're good. And I remember that feeling, and my sensitive things just came to focus, and I skated well. Yeah. So I was like, thank you.
Yeah. That's amazing. Wow. I love those stories because.
little things, right? Like make a big difference for people. When
that are huge.
Yeah, you're just like, that just happened. Yeah, Holmes just threw you the shaka. Like, fucking rad.
You're good. Yeah. I mean, it couldn't have come from anyone else.
No, I mean, fucking not a shaka, anyways.
No,
not a believable one.
Perhaps not. But yeah, having those moments and kind of validating, who you are and what you're doing, and I mean, it means a lot. It's I have those moments, but with like just a couple people, like when I was really young, same kind of thing. Like, hey, I met Stacy Peralta when I was 10 or something. I was a little kid, and I could do a bunch of 360s, and he happened to be in San Francisco at a contest that we were watching, and he seen me. He's like, oh, that's rad, and I was like,
that's so cool.
like what? Like just totally tripped out. So those moments, man, they mean a lot. It's funny as I hope, like, I like to think that I was a decent person to most people whenever we're out doing demos and stuff like that. I want to. Okay, now you're off like on a kind of a second dream. I mean, you're really doing it. Like, I have moments of doing my thing, but you're really doing it. You're doing it. You're on the road constantly. How much time do you spend on the road now?
Currently. Currently we maybe 6 months or so on the road. Not that much. It was kind of like in the old days we would be 8 or 9 months on the road.
That's extremely difficult. I mean, self-regulate, manage.
Yeah, it is. It's like one of those things where I love it. I love playing music, and I'm just no one wants to hear a full-time musician complain about his fucking job, so I won't. But it comes with the price, and you better fucking want it because if you will poop in bags, you will pee in a Gatorade bottle is like that's considered that's posh. You better want it. That's the way I look at it. It's just you better want it because it's gonna fuck with you and it's gonna be very, very hard, and people it's just it can be a vicious world.
Yeah.
And in the music industry, people notoriously, right? I mean, it's
terrible.
So it's difficult, but at the end of the day, being in a position as a musician when while you're playing, you're a musician, you're playing, and people really feel it, and there's like a back and forth that's occurring. Yeah. It's a priceless feeling. So it makes it worth it, and you're putting smiles on people's faces. And luckily for us, like we have great fans too, and I don't know. I have there are so many moments that I've been in and all traveling around the world. Right, I'm meeting people's parents whose kids have got shot and killed in Afghanistan and all the different wars that were occurring, and they live in a weird way. They just said like Flogging Molly is their son's favorite or daughter's favorite fucking band when they were alive, and they're like their parents live it weird keep their son or daughter's vibe and life alive through our music. Yeah. Now that's a lot of heavy shit. Yeah. And I'm just like I don't know if we're worthy of it, but it's a great line to try to stand up to. So like that kind of stuff you're just like, okay, if I got the stomach virus, I was vomiting in it, on stage while we're playing, and it just really sucks. It'd be easier just to go home, but like then you meet people like that, and you're like, okay, so I need to stop fucking whinging and just get on with it and just be stoked. And that kind of keeps the 20 years and 8 months out of the year, 9 months out of the year, it keeps it in perspective. And
sure,
it's not the easiest thing to do. And there was moments where being away from my own family for so long, got me to a point where I was fully depressed, clinically depressed. Like, dude, it's just a long time to have that kind of heartache. If you have a child, you're just like, it's just, especially when they're very small. There'd just be times where you're like, I haven't seen my kid in fucking 2.5 months. It's like, it's a hard fucking pill to swallow.
That is really hard.
Then you meet somebody who the same day has the same kind of story where you're just like, someone who's dead, not even alive. Your son's somewhere else, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it just really like brings a heaviness to it, which I'm not trying to do right now. I'm trying to fuck this whole interview up. But it brings a heaviness where to you're like, okay, that really is more important than what I'm whinging about or having a problem with.
It puts you in check, and that's important on the daily, for all of us to be put in check. Especially we come from we're fortunate, we're not lucky because the skateboarding thing and what we've done. You're not lucky to throw yourself into the cement every single day for 8 hours a day.
Sure,
that's not luck. you know, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I think we're fortunate in to be in these positions that we're in. But you know, going back to your point is that I always had a problem like with your existence. Like why are we here? Like it's so masturbatory at times where you're like me, I, everything's about you. Everything you know, and what you want and your needs and what you want to do and then you have a kid, you bring someone into this world, then you realize you're like, oh,
dude, it puts the halt to that.
Yeah. Oh, now you have a reason to exist, and you're low man on totem. You got to make sure everyone else is cool, and then you can be cool. The validation you get and musicians get from people who constantly say, hey,
thank you for doing what you're doing,
for making this world a better place with what you do. Then you realize, okay, I'm here for a reason. This has got to be the reason why I'm here, because otherwise I don't know really why I'm here other than make sure my son's cool.
Yeah.
And I have people tell me all the time, with the way what I do affects them, and it's humbling. It's it's not. It has the opposite effect that some people might think. Like everyone's like, oh, you guys are so great.
Sure. It should have the opposite effect.
Right?
But there are people that swallow the wrong pill
completely.
Oh, and they're just like, you're mistaking people's love for what you're doing. Of how rad you are, you're missing the could be the bigger picture here. I see it all. I mean, we're around we're around musicians. We're on festivals. I was in Europe for whatever 6 weeks. I'm staring. There are times where you get around people who are like, dude, this fucking person believes the shit. Like he believes the bullshit.
Right
come on now, come on, my friend. Like let's keep it. I understand that you're selling a lot of records. It's rad, but let's keep it cool, dude. Come on now.
Oh yeah. They drink the Kool-Aid and they're like, the me Kool-Aid, right? It's like, oh, it is all about me.
Like you said, the lens that I, try to look at it is that lens where you're just, if you start to be in a point where you're like, it gets overwhelming sometimes. You're just like, man, you just meet people and things, and you're just like, wow, this is exactly why I do it. And not that long ago in America, we did it. We did a show, and after the show, I was smiling, had a couple beers with me, extra smiling. I'm like, what's up? Like going around meeting people, and this mom came up to me. And she displayed the heaviness upon me, like her kid of 16, 2 years younger than my son, just OD'd, and just it was so gnarly. And when it was done, I just she said the similar thing, like just thank you for playing. It's just so heavy. I was just totally crying. Like I just started crying for like 10 minutes, hugging her. It was just overwhelming. So anyways, it's stuff like that. You just walk away like, wow. I don't know how this has all happened, but I'm glad that whatever we're doing is making that poor woman smile just a goddamn little bit, because I can only imagine the bullshit, the misery.
Well, I just want to say thank you for making this place a better world.
Oh, dude, thank you, Tony.
That's what I think you did. Thank you. Thanks for taking the time to do this, Matt Hensley. Did you practice like on oranges or any of that stuff?
No, I just practiced on my punk rock friends. Like Carson Pete, and then he'd bring his friend 20 who was blind. And
I wish I had my skate. I would actually probably try it. Back and forth, I learned to do fucking wall rides and fakies. And I'll go up,